She broke every fucking window in the car, and then she locks the door. And now he fucking grabbed her hair. No shit.
This is for Dr. Loomis.
Oh, wow. Wow. Oh. Fucking. That's it. Just kill her. She can't even fire the gun.
Hey guys, what's up? It's BigJackFilms here, and welcome back to another opening night. Again, I know it's been a while. I haven't seen that many movies the last bit. It's just we've been very busy with Mummy Month and a few other projects down the line. In fact, the last 2 episodes are being worked on at the moment for the season. But I'm also know that I'm a little bit late to this review to talk about Halloween Kills, the sequel to the 2018 film, which was a reboot sequel to the original Halloween, ignoring all the other films in between. So this is basically Halloween 3, the one with Michael Myers, not Secret of the Witch. So, a lot of people I actually came out of the last one. Well, let me just give a brief rundown like I did before on the previous entries. I love the original. The original is a classic horror film. Really dig Halloween 2. Decent sequel, all things considered. Halloween 3, I think, is really underrated. I think it really is hated too much, but it does have its qualities. But there is a way you could salvage it, which I'll talk about maybe later in this video. And then we have Halloween 4, which is one of my personal favorites because of the ending. Halloween 5 is terrible. Halloween 6 is even worse. H2O is really honestly just a Scream ripoff. Resurrection is awful. That is essentially a Blair Witch ripoff. Rob Zombie's Halloween I did really like, and Halloween 2, again, was awful. And then the last one, Halloween 2018, I came out of it really enjoying it. In fact, it was my first Halloween movie in the cinemas, so I got to appreciate it, and funny enough, I watched it before watching this movie, and again, I really liked it. But now we come to Halloween Kills, and apparently they shot 2 movies back-to-back, Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends, essentially making this I guess what we could call the Blumhouse trilogy. Basically, this is a series of 3 films that are all simultaneously connected. But, there was a lot to go on in this movie. I mean, I honestly, when I heard they were going to make 2 and 3, I was like, here we go again. You know, because, like, have we learned nothing from previous times they've revived this franchise? They make a good one, and then the follow-up sucks. And we had that 3 times, mind you. We had Halloween 4, it was good. Halloween 5, it sucked. We had H2O, it was good. Resurrection, it sucked. Then we had Zombies, Halloween, it was good. Then Halloween 2, it sucked. So, coming into this one, I'm like, I was kind of fearful that this was gonna suck. And a lot of people were telling me, no, it's because John Carpenter's involved, and Jamie Lee Curtis is involved, and, you know, they're actually going to make it consistent, it's going to be good, and early reviews were saying it was great. I heard the soundtrack was amazing, and even a lot of people I know, Sean J.T. is Reborn, said it actually wasn't that bad. There was a lot of anticipation for me to see the sequel. I did hear a few people say it was bad, but that's probably because, you know, there was a bunch of hate people out there on the interwebs. But, needless to say, and I sound terrible for this, I was right. And anybody who says this is good, that they weren't gonna fuck it up, you know what? You're fucking wrong. this was really, really bad. Like, this was awful. Now, just to clarify, I watched it with a friend of mine. You might have seen them in the opening bit of this video. But I'm going to be honest, I absolutely hated this movie. Like, it's not the worst movie I've ever seen, but it's still a really bad movie. Like, I don't know how they keep fucking this up. How is it that you can fuck up the sequel right after the reboot? We've had this now. This is now, what, the 4th time we've done this, where we have a good sequel and then they fuck it up? I'm so sick of this shit, and now I'm curious to know what they're doing with Part 3, because rumors going about that they may not have shot in Part 3 yet, which I'm like, oh no, that means this is in trouble. Because the way this ends definitely sets it up for a final film, but I am curious to know if they did shoot it simultaneously, or if that was just a bluff to get hype going, because if not, this franchise is in trouble yet again. Like, this was really bad, and I'll explain why. So, to clarify what the plot is, basically it's the same night as the 2018 film, which I'm sick of calling it that. I've always dubbed it Halloween Returns. It just sounds like a better title. But it takes place after Halloween Returns, and basically it's the same night. So we're doing Halloween 2 again. Like, this is the same night as the first film. And which, by the way, how can all this shit happen in one night? That just seems impossible. So, oh my god, my glasses are terribly fogged. So, basically, Michael Myers escapes from the burning house and obviously kills some firefighters, and has basically caused the whole town to go crazy. So, the whole town, unlike previous movies where they're like, oh, Michael Myers is a myth, he's not real, he can't get you. Now they're like, no, he will get us. Let's round house, let's go fuck shit up. So the whole town is in on destroying Michael Myers. So, in a way, I kind of like that concept, because it does take the whole Frankenstein angry mob mentality and actually makes it where it's like, okay, let's actually do something. Like, you think this is a smart crowd. But then the whole movie goes downhill after that. Like, the first 20 minutes, I was actually interested in what was going on. I actually did like the idea that the town is so done with Michael, it's like, let's go to war with this guy. Let's get him. I did like... One thing I will say that I really liked were the flashbacks to the original film. Because one thing they did was they brought back Dr. Loomis. And you think, oh god, they're going to deep fake him. They're going to CGI him like they did with Peter Cushing in Rogue One. Which, funny enough, Cushing was going to play Dr. Loomis in the original, but he was so successful with Star Wars that he became unavailable. But you wonder, oh, how are they going to fuck up Donald Pleasance's legacy? Did they do enough with Halloween 6? Well, it turns out what they did was they actually got the art director of the film, put him in makeup. He looked exactly like Donald Pleasance, but obviously the voice wasn't changed, so they got a voice actor. And I'm like, that's amazing. If they can do that with dead actors, where you can just get a guy in makeup and a dubbed voice, that's perfectly fine. And honestly, that's amazing if you can do that. Like, instead of deepfake technology, because I still think we're not entirely there yet. So, basically, yeah, all the flashback stuff was great, and the first half hour was actually pretty good to see the town finally ready to take on Michael Myers. But then when Michael does essentially, I think, his second killing spree after he does the firefighters, which, to be honest, that was pretty brutal, and I'll get to that positive point in a sec, the whole movie goes downhill. The whole movie becomes a cartoon, the whole movie becomes completely insensitive, and it becomes a completely, like, insane movie, and I'll explain why in a sec. But again, to the good points. The opening scene was good. All the stuff with the flashbacks was fantastic. I like that stuff. The kills, I'm not gonna lie, are some of the most violent in the franchise. But I'll say this, that they were welcomed, especially compared to the last one. Like, these were on par with the Rob Zombie remake, and the camera angle here is awful. I'm just coming into town. There we go. The camera angles, okay, so anyway, I'm sorry about camera angles. I'm sorry, I'm so tired. I'm still recovering from a con, by the way. But, the kills were on par with the Rob Zombie film, which it's psychotic, it's violent, it's mental. I do like the fact, one thing I will say that I was very conflicted about with the film, but I think, thinking about it, I actually like, is the idea that Michael Myers, is not necessarily human. He is an entity of evil, and not just an entity of evil, he's a fucking sadist in this movie. There are kills he does that he does right in front of his next victims to make them suffer, to almost feed and get hard on their pain and suffering. And that's the kind of stuff I love with villains, is when they can essentially fuck with people and fuck with them mentally. And I mean, Negan in The Walking Dead is a prime example. I don't watch Walking Dead, but I have seen that scene, and that scene is fucked up beyond belief. So Michael Myers is kind of like Naraku, where he's enjoying in putting pain on others, not just physically, but mentally, by making them watch the people they love, he kills them. That stuff's great. Like, that makes him even more of a son of a bitch that you just want to kick the shit out of him. So that stuff's great. I do like that they are kind of hiding what his true form is until the third one. I think they're going to pretty much say that he is the devil, because Dr. Loomis in the first film said, you know, the blackest eye is the devil's eyes. We never see his eyes in these next few films. So I like the concept that basically he is the devil in human form. That's why he can take so much abuse and he just never dies. He is Satan incarnate. So when he takes the mask off in the third one, I'm expecting like great white shark black pupil eyes. And that sounds terrifying. The fact that Michael is essentially an entity of evil. So that stuff I liked. What I did not like, a lot. I'll say this. If you guys have seen on the Twitter feeds and stuff that people have been bitching about this movie because of how the way they handle firefighters, how the way they handle certain groups and individuals in the social climates, at first I was kind of skeptical, because I'm like, oh god, here comes cancel culture again, ready to tarnish another franchise. But in this case, I'm gonna be honest, they have some merits in wanting some of this stuff to be kind of talked about, because it's like, hey, what the fuck are you doing here, movie? Like, this is my biggest problem with every sequel. There is no quality control and consistencies when you do the reboots. You just do the reboot, and then you do the sequel, and you go crazy. And sometimes you go crazy where you're like, is this too far? The scene with the firefighters, okay, showing them getting killed is like, okay, that's fine. But then they show them later all cut and ripped into pieces. And this is it was kind of too much. I felt that was too much. Like, the aftermath was too much. And that part, I think, could have been cut. Like, I'm not talking about the whole scene being cut of him murdering them, but the aftermath could have been cut. That where I was like, that was too upsetting to watch. So, firefighters do get the shaft on here. Things like other social issues are pretty much thrown in the fire. Like, Michael kills those like kind of individuals, and it's all played for gags. It's all played for almost comic relief, and it's very stereotypical, and it comes off very uncomfortable. So in that sense, that's a little fucked up. But the biggest issue that a lot of people aren't talking about is, I mean, obviously they talk about, you know, Michael Myers doing this, Michael Myers doing that, should this be cut? Can we talk about the mental health issue with this movie? Because one of the things they do try to do is do the whole how mob mentality can be bad. Like, I know a lot of people lately, the last few years, have been very pent up, very angry about things in the world, and how we just want to take the bat and charge in and just say, enough is enough, let's just settle the problem because the system isn't doing it. I get it. I totally understand where that message is coming from. But it's executed so goddamn poorly in this movie, where it becomes almost a comedy. It becomes almost like a Rob Zombie came in. In fact, I said this to a few people. The script and the dialogue for this movie felt like it was written by a Twitter feed for a cancel culture event. Like, it felt like it was written by, you know, a group of people trying to cancel somebody. That's the dialogue in this movie. It is literally like reading Twitter messages, Twitter posts about this. And it's really laughably structured. It is terribly put together. I really did not like how they handled that. I'll say this, Tommy Doyle's back in this, the kid from the first one. A lot of characters from the first one. And a lot of characters get either terribly killed off and really ruin their characters. But Tommy Doyle is the worst. Like, they turned this kid, now he's like 40 years old, they turned him into an asshole. Like, a complete and utter asshole. A hot-headed one, an egotistically driven one, and I didn't like that they did that to Tommy, like, because Tommy was just a nice kid in the first one. So, did not like that. So there's a lot of that I fucking hated with this. It's just, I didn't So back to the mental health thing. There's a moment where they think a mental patient who escaped the hospital from the first film is Michael Myers, and they drive him to suicide, and they play it off as sad and a very King Kong-esque. I'll say that right now. Like, even down to Karen, Laurie's daughter, trying to help this mental patient as he climbs up the top of the building, as he gets to the top floor, and she's like, no, I want to help you, and it's too late, so he jumps and kills himself, and then everybody looks around the body, and it's like, what have we become? He's turning us into monsters, and I'm like, oh, God. Like, first of all, way to throw mental health under the bus, and second of all, what a forced message. Like, what a forced way to make Michael even more evil than he already was. In fact, it is very much a contradictive 50-50 thing I'm opinionated on. Because I just like the fact that Michael was just a guy who stabbed people and killed people. He wasn't this evil devil entity. He wasn't a puppet for a thorn cult. He wasn't, this or that. It's just, they can't ever simplify this character. And not only that, they can never keep him dead. So, honestly, this shouldn't have been a trilogy. This should have been just the last movie. But, honestly, they have to make it a trilogy because that's what sells now. So, that part I did not like. I did not like the fact that Laurie Strode was in the hospital the whole time. Now, unlike Halloween 2, where she's doing stuff, this one, they pretty much Last Jedi'd this. Now, this coming from somebody who likes The Last Jedi, who actually does enjoy it, this is pretty much what I think a lot of people see in The Last Jedi. To me, this is for Halloween fans what The Last Jedi was to Star Wars fans. And it's just very disappointing to see Laurie put in this position. I get why. She's old. She got stabbed a few times in the stomach, but honestly, like, I don't even know why she was in this movie. She probably should have just died here. I don't know. But this whole movie just seems very contrived, very convoluted, and very confused. Like, there's just too much going on, and there's just no quality control. And I don't know what John Carpenter has planned. I don't know what Jamie Lee Curtis has planned, because they're both producing this. I don't know what their plan and endgame is here. Kind of wondering what's going to happen with the third one. I'm counting on it to maybe fix it, but at the same time, we saw what happened with Rise of Skywalker, and I'm feeling like they're going to do something like that, especially if they haven't filmed the movie yet. So, there's that I didn't like. There's just a lot not to like about this movie, and it just came off as a complete padded waste of time. I guarantee you could probably watch the 28 Halloween Returns and then go directly to Halloween Ends. You don't even need to watch this one. So there's just a lot going on in this movie, and the ending, okay, I'll say this, it does salvage it by the end, because they basically corner Michael, they beat the shit out of him, and they don't even think to just kill this guy and beat him to a pulp, again, like Negan did in The Walking Dead to Glenn. Sorry, guys, that's the only episode I've ever seen that turned me off even watching the show. That was more graphic than you see on Game of Thrones, but they don't even think to end him like that, so Michael just gets back up and just kills people. He even kills Karen. Karen's dead. So, it's like, the whole movie, I don't know what it was trying to be, and it just felt like a lot of wasted potential for me. And there's a lot of stuff that, obviously, it targets a lot of social groups and stuff. Now, let me be clear, I'm not a social justice warrior. I'm not any of that shit. I don't give a fuck about any of that stuff. But in this case, where they're kind of talking about the kind of a bit of offensiveness of this movie, yes, the firefighters, the certain social groups, yes, they should be talked about. They do have some merits in this, because it is pretty damn cold and pretty targeted, hardly targeted. The thing is, I wouldn't mind that if it wasn't so heavily targeted. And they seem like the ones they are constantly targeting as kill counts in this movie. But I'm on my end kind of feeling the way they do because of how mental health is portrayed. I'm a big advocate for mental health. And I feel like this movie just really threw it under the bus, probably worse than all the other demographic groups out there. Like, this is one of those movies that really takes mental health and just makes fun of it and just stereotypes it and just does terrible things with it and sends a message in all the wrong reasons. So that's my hot take on the controversy about Halloween. So what do I overall think of this film? I think it is one of the worst entries in the franchise. Is it as boring as Halloween 5? No. Is it as goofily insane and goofily hilarious as Halloween Resurrection with Busta Rhymes beating the shit on Michael Myers? No. Is it as artsy and confusing as fuck as Halloween 2, the Rob Zombie film? No. But it's the biggest issue of why it's the worst one, it's the one with the most wasted potential. And that's a shame, because I was really wanting to see this whole franchise turn around to have one last set of Halloween movies that would stick the landing, and then after that we say no more making these, let's move on to something else. But in a way, like, this is, like, the worst one. Like, this is one of the worst entries in the franchise. So this is definitely a total, I would say maybe even 3 or 4 out of 10. Like, this was really bad, very disappointing. And is it the worst movie I've ever seen? God, no. Is it Cruella bad? Fuck no. Like, I'd rather watch this than Cruella. Would I say it's worse? Like, I mean, it's bad on its own merits. It's not even bad in comparison to, say, the other Halloween movies. That's just what I would say. It's its own thing. But on top of that, it's like, you look at some of the other ideas they had floating around. I've seen a lot of YouTubers talk about this, about, oh, they were going to do this and that. And one of them was Michael Myers versus Pinhead. I'm like, I would much rather have seen that movie. So, yeah, I did not like this one. I was very disappointed, and such a shame given the last one, actually, I came out really enjoying. So, I am counting on the next one to kind of maybe fix it, but at this point, given the direction they're going, I highly doubt it. And even what I'm thinking they should do, which is either a multiverse movie that is centered around the Silver Shamrock Company and the Stonehenges creating portals to multiverses. That's why you have multiple Michaels, Dr. Loomises, and all that stuff. So I'll bring all the franchises together into one sitting. Or you basically have it where Michael Myers transforms into the devil. And then, I don't know, Laurie Strode becomes Gandalf and just goes, "You shall not pass, Michael." Just something like that. You might as well. If you're going this route, you might as well. So, did not like this one. I would even say skip this one. But, I mean, I do want to see them stick the landing. So, if you want to go support it financially, do so. But, in this case for me, did not like it. I really was very disappointed with this movie. So, of course, let me know your thoughts about Halloween Kills in the comments below. Do you think I'm wrong? Do you think I'm right? Let me know. Do you think I brought up some new points that haven't been discussed? Just let me know overall. I would like to hear the discussions about people, what they think about this movie. A lot of people have come to me and saying, "I told you you hate it. And you know what? You were right, man. I'm sorry I doubted you, because I was going in knowing that this was probably going to suck. And when I heard early reviews were good, I'm like, okay, I'll give it a chance. And my speculations beforehand were correct. So, until the next video, I guess, like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys later. This is BigJackFilms signing off, saying, when Halloween Ends comes out, just stop. It's time to stop. Stop making these. Never make these again. We don't need another one. No more Halloweens. Let Halloween literally end. So until the next video, I will see you guys later, and happy Halloween.